Heads up my lovelies, in this video I am going to be talking about the dangerous expectations and some of the diets which have come out of Hollywood in the extreme ways that has actually impacted stars, and if this is too much for you today, I fully understand, feel free to click off the video. If you're going to brave through it, I always, when it comes to topics like this, have resources in the description box below because I'm someone that's dealt with EDs in the past and I've been through that battle and I don't want anybody to feel as bad as I do. And also a little note, I'm going to be monitoring the comment section, okay, because anytime that I've been looking into topics like this, I always come across a lot of fat phobia, a lot of people talking about losing weight and all the joys and benefits of it and everything. We're not talking about that right now. We're talking about very extreme things which stars have to do. So yes, okay, I'm just going to delete your comment if you want to make it, okay? Please don't make my life any harder. I'm dealing with a lot as it is. The newest movie, which has been hyped for a very long time, has finally hit our screens. Joker, Folie, Deux. I have tried pronouncing that 7 times now. I hope I've got it right. This is the follow-up movie to the controversial 2019 Joker movie, which starred Joaquin Phoenix. But this time, Mother has joined us. But wait, she wasn't born this way, nor was Joaquin. They've been on this big transformational journey in order to be able to fulfill the role. Why are we still expecting stars to starve or go fully method in order to be able to play a character properly? For the Joker movie, Joaquin lost 52 pounds for that role in 2019, which is 23.5 kgs to everybody who lives outside of the US. To achieve this, he spoke of his extreme diet eating mainly lettuce and steamed vegetables in order to look suitably gaunt. And now that it's time for round 2 with Mother, Lady Gaga, they both had to lose a significant amount of weight, again. As Joaquin said in this interview about Lady Gaga, I remember when I first met you in rehearsals and then you went away, and then when you came back, you'd lost a lot of weight. It was really impressive. Why are we still here? Just to suffer? Just stop it. Oh my god. Why is it that extreme dieting and weight loss is deemed to be such a noble achievement, and people are celebrated for punishing themselves, which if you actually read or listen to their interviews, they were literally punishing themselves in pain. We're gonna get into it.
Meeting at 5:30 in the morning, doing ballet for 2 or 3 hours. She goes and works a 12-hour day and meets me at the gym at night, and we're doing our toning exercises and, you know, swimming a mile, and then she goes home and goes to sleep, and we get up the next day and do it again.
For Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy lost an undisclosed amount of weight to be able to play the role, but he justified it by saying, "I was running on crazy energy. I went over a threshold where I was not worrying about food or anything. I was so in it, in a state of hyper something. But it was good because the character was like that. He never ate. He lived on cigarettes and pipes." Emily Blunt, who also starred in the movie, commented on Cillian like this: "He could only eat like an almond every day. He was so emaciated." We all remember Bridget Jones and the scandal of hiring a Texan to play a British woman, and hugely, sadly operative word on huge because that's how everybody described her, she had to gain weight in order to be able to play the role properly. We often think of women when it comes to having to control their looks and have extreme discipline about the way that they act, the way that they eat, everything that they ever do. And that is indeed absolutely true. They get put down not only by their employers but also their fans, the general public, because it's been so normalized to criticize everything about a woman's body, everything about everything that she ever does. Like I've said before, women are meant to be the perfect role models. So what is the message that you're sending to kids? But I would be arguing, what's the message that the directors are actually making the actors do, which then sends the message? It always goes back to pointing the finger at the woman, and I'm like, who was actually in control here? Women's body transformations absolutely do happen for roles in movies. However, the results aren't quite as extreme as what happens for men, as we'll be getting to, because they already have a slim frame to begin with. However, what you really need to bear in mind here is that because their frame was so small to begin with, 10 kgs on them is going to be a lot more significant than 10 kgs on someone that is of a bigger frame. These women were already people who have to be incredibly strict about what they eat. No matter what they may tell you in their interviews, they're all having to watch their figure all the time. Prime example is Natalie Portman in Black Swan. She went on a carrots and almond diet where she said, "I thought I was going to die." But her very restrictive diet, combined with the intense exercise that she was doing for multiple hours every single day, meant that she said, "It was the first time I understood how you could get so wrapped up in a role that it could sort of take you down." And Mila Kunis also lost 20 pounds to play that role. Bearing in mind, these were two already slim, petite women. Mila said, "I'm so hungry all the time. I want to eat and not work out and not do anything. I plan on doing nothing. I end Black Swan in February and I plan to be a couch potato for about a month." And she also stressed how she did not advocate for this at all. Another example when it comes to women is Anne Hathaway when it comes to Les Miserables. And she says in this interview, "That weight loss was not a long-term good thing for my health, and it took a really long time to come back from it, and I was really sick because of it." But as we know, she won an award for that role. So the message of suffering for your art gets solidified time and again. Back in the day, before Beyonce was a billionaire that we all know, she had to go on a juice cleanse to be able to lose 20 pounds for her role in Dreamgirls. However, she says this.
So I decided I wanted to lose weight and make a physical transformation. And it was difficult because I love food. I love to eat. I did a fast, master cleanser, but for 14 days. Yeah. And
that's
it was
like
all liquid.
pepper, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then vegetables. Worked out. It was difficult. Everybody was eating Krispy Kremes around me. I was grouchy.
Yeah.
But I did it and I lost the weight.
They didn't ask you to lose. You just lost on your own?
No, I wanted to.
Especially for a black woman in Hollywood in 2006 when this came out. You and I both know that the 2000s were not kind to any woman, much less a black woman. Yes, Beyonce was fancied by literally everybody. I can fully understand why. Gorgeous, stunning, talented, everything in the Lady Gaga meme. She would have absolutely felt pressured in the whole, oh, when you're on a big screen, it just looks so much better to be toned, and all of those sorts of messages. Getting into character is a really important part of an actor's job, but why is it that we're casting people who don't look like the way that you want them to look on the screen? It's a totally different thing when it comes to makeup and prosthetics and wigs and stuff. When you're getting someone to change their body in order to be able to get a role, that's what I've got a problem with. Why can't you just hire one of the many actors who actually exist who have the body type that you're actually after, if that is the thing that really matters to you? And I really stand strong on this part, especially when it comes to disabled roles, because there are so few opportunities for disabled actors out there. So why are you trying to train someone to act like they're blind or act like they need to use a wheelchair or whatever it may be? Why not just give those opportunities to, disabled actors? And then if you still need to have your star power to pull people in, use them in other roles in the movies. When it comes to extreme body changes for a role, the first person that normally comes to mind is Christian Bale. Christian said, I was intrigued by a perverse nature of mine to see if I can go beyond what I've been told is actually safe and okay, and see if I could push the limits. From Patrick Bateman's meticulous control over his body and surroundings, to Batman's sculpted figure, to his sinewy character in The Machinist, to gaining weight to play Dick Cheney in Vice most recently. To give you a little bit of perspective of the harms here, when filming The Machinist, Christian's muscles actually lost their elasticity. Barely even 6 months after being this for The Machinist, he had to get ready to be this in Batman. For his role in American Hustle, he gained weight and got a herniated disc from doing that. It was one of my patrons who actually brought up Bale because they used to really admire him for the fact that he was this dedicated. But looking back now, we can see that none of this was actually good, nor was it sustainable, nor was it healthy for him to be doing. Matthew McConaughey, for his role in the Dallas Buyers Club, lost a significant amount of weight to be able to play that role too. But it's also very worth noting, after this point he actually got taken seriously as an actor, because previously to this movie coming out, he was always just seen as like the heartthrob for the women to want, kind of the cheeky guy in movies, always the love interest. But after this, he got taken seriously because he showed that he was what? Dedicated enough to punishing himself. See also how beautiful women have to make themselves ugly to be taken seriously on screen too. Then you look at Chris Hemsworth, Thor, the guy that's so beefed up he's basically a protein shake. He withered down to this to be able to play his role in The Heart of the Sea. He dropped 33 pounds, nearly 15 kgs in about 4 weeks. It was so dangerous and painful and psychologically challenging for a number of the actors on the cast, but it's worth it for the art, right? Well, just listen to what the actors were saying about it.
Just didn't eat much. I just sort of dwindled the food down to about 500, 600 calories for the last couple of weeks.
All of us were in the gym training and eating, and then one Monday the producers just came in and said, oh yeah, by the way, that's all over now, it's time to diet. Everyone would get their egg, and some people were quite private about their food. I didn't like to eat with people because I almost felt like someone was going to steal my food.
Plus, it's really important to note that these men were all muscular, so it's not like it was fat being eaten away, it was literally their muscles being withered away. Look at Adam Driver. Yes, Kylo Ren. He recalled his experience with Martin Scorsese for the movie Silence. He asked us to lose a lot of weight. I didn't know how much it was going to be. That visual part of storytelling, I don't think I've ever taken it to that extreme before. It's an interesting thing. You're so hungry and so tired at some points that there's nothing you can do. You're not adding anything on top of what you're doing. You only have enough energy to convey what you're doing, so it's great. There are other times where a scene's not working and you don't have the energy to figure out why it's not working. The fact that he was so starved he wasn't able to think properly is an incredibly worrying sign. Genuinely, I'm picturing Martin Scorsese like this.
Then go ahead and starve!
So does an actor need to perfectly be able to look the part in order to be able to play the character? Well, as Blonde reminds us, people will pick on an actor or actress for literally any reason. The fact that Ana de Armas was Cuban infuriated so many people. Now, the movie infuriates me, but for all sorts of other reasons. It's seen as the most authentic way to play a real person, to be the same height, the same weight, be from the same country even. But you're never going to get the actual person that you're trying to recreate. You're only going to get an impersonation of that. We've got so much ability with technology to be able to manipulate things these days. It's been done in movies for years and you probably haven't even noticed it. And no, people keep on thinking about the Wolverine thing, you know, with his muscles and stuff. No, that is actually real. Hugh Jackman put himself through hell to again transform his body to a ridiculous, unrealistic standard in order to be able to get that role. Again. Plus, do you not know what clothing can do? Because you must not be watching the historical girlies like I do. Clothing, corsetry, undergarments, padding, they've all been used for so many years to be able to change the shape of someone's body without them having to change themselves. If you want to see the effects of this in live action, check out Drag Queens.
A drag queen?
If you haven't seen it yet, check out Bro Deschanel's The Problem with Method Acting video because seriously, there is a balance which is needed here.
You must learn to sacrifice for a higher purpose, to push yourself beyond all limitation.
All of the talk from the aforementioned actors not advocating for something whilst they get praise and accolades for doing the dangerous thing is such mixed messaging. Doing these extreme things to your body is how an actor gets taken seriously, it's how they get career opportunities. And if they can do it, why can't you? You must be so lazy. They're the ones that are putting up with these grueling workouts, the fact that they're barely eating anything every single day, and they still get by, and they're working 12 to 14-hour days. What's your excuse? Ugh. As much as we like to try to separate ourselves from the screen, our brains are not that intelligent really. We've got silly little monkey brains, like I spoke about in this video here. What you see on the screen, it directly has an impact of how you see reality. I've also got another video I'm working on about this exact issue. Remember the Black Swan movie? I'm 34, so I remember what it was like when it came out, okay? And genuinely, everybody was ogling after these figures. They wanted to be able to get this exact figure themselves. And so what happened was they started to try to train like a ballerina. Ballet Pilates classes came up. Everyone was trying to do bar classes. Everybody was trying to do everything that they could to recreate what they were eating, how they were training, what they were doing to be able to look like this. However, the training that actually happened, sorry, a bird just landed directly outside the window. It's looking in. Women were so desperate to have these figures and people were more than happy to try to sell them things that could help them get there, to be able to make sure they got that perfect figure, even though, like I said, the training regimen that these women actually had to go through to be able to achieve this look is nothing that people could actually do unless you're a ballerina yourself. And ballerinas will also tell you that EDs are incredibly common. So it's not easily achievable for them either. And men typically look up to incredibly muscular men who go through these transformations very quickly for movies, which has to be done in such a regimented, intense, horrible way, honestly, like really grueling training that they go through for this. And men see this on the screen and they're like, I want to be able to get that. And they use that as their inspiration as they chug their way and then just eat their chicken and broccoli and rice and then surround everyone with farts. So everybody suffers with that. The amount of articles, interviews, and videos which exist, which are just about how a star lost the weight that they did, what figure they have, how much they lost, they fixate on what are the foods that you miss the most. The interviewer finds out how punishing it was and then congratulates the person for all that they've done. This gets done especially for women, like Jennifer Lawrence had her body picked apart when she played Katniss Everdeen, then it got picked apart again for Silver Linings Playbook, and she did actually have to lose weight to be able to play Red Sparrow, and then that got fixated on. However, she said, I can't work on a diet. I'm hungry. I'm standing on my feet. I need more energy. I remember having a meltdown, freaking out that I'd eaten 5 banana chips. So she said how she can't function on a diet, however people were just ogling at her because again, that's the only thing that a woman is worth is her looks, as we've been told time and time again, right? When Lady Gaga posted this video on TikTok last year, her new figure sparked comments about her being in her ozempic era, and people were celebrating that. They were shocked at her transformation. There's this increased scrutiny on women's bodies because we've been trained to judge and mock women, as I've spoken about the expectation on them to be role models. You're slammed for gaining weight, you're slammed for losing weight. Sure, people may talk a bit about men and what they've gone through, but it's women who really get the brunt of things. And you can see this in Gaga's interview I talked about at the very start of this video. She quickly interjected when Joaquin was complimenting her to skirt away from the rapid weight loss discussions by saying it was for the role. I think we transformed into our characters over time and continued to hone every kind of detail. We fed Phoenix blueberries when he was really hungry. Because it sadly exists online, I could tell you exactly what Lady Gaga did, but it was not a fun thing for her to put herself through. There are significant health issues from rapid body changes, like nutrition deficiency, gallstones, loss of muscle mass, hair loss, metabolic issues, your periods can even stop, lower immunity, fatigue, electrolyte issues, and also bone density issues, not to mention all of the long-term psychological effects from having a disordered eating pattern, because that is an easy way for people to be able to go down that slippery path like I've talked about before. Especially those psychological issues, because people will always compliment people on their weight loss, whether that's happened for quote-unquote good reasons or for really bad reasons. So many of you have told me how sick you've been and then you've lost some weight because of that, and then people started complimenting you, and like it's a real mind screw. I just wish that we could stop commenting on people's different body shapes. The only reason I'm talking about these extreme differences for the movers is because I want to have this specific discussion. I'm not saying whether someone looks better or not. I'm not saying anything like that. We're talking about how people are being demanded to actually do this stuff in order to be able to get a role. And I'm sadly very well aware that thin is in, and there is this explosion on TikTok of think skinny, which is incredibly concerning to me. Like, what we see is happening out in the world is directly impacting especially our youth. And I know what it's like to be young and insecure and all of that stuff, and oof. Like I said, I don't want anybody else to deal with EDs. People have all sorts of things that affect them, like PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, or other health issues which directly impact your weight and weight fluctuations. People live in poverty. People work multiple jobs. People live in food deserts. Like, if you want to get angry about something, please channel that anger, channel all of that judgment onto your local constituents and get them to actually change things to make things better, more accessible for people, and make sure that people get paid properly. Make sure that people can actually buy the food that they need to eat and actually vote. Like, do that work. Channel all of that energy that you want to like point and laugh at somebody to where it's actually going to make a genuine difference. Jamila Jamil has spoken about the dangers of diet culture on her Instagram. Yesterday I got the results from my bone density scan. I've been in a lot of pain lately, and it turns out 20 years of dieting has hurt my bone density. My bone density! In my 30s. Please, please, please do not let diet culture drag you to where I am. And Tom Holland also spoke up about the weight loss he had to do in order to be able to play the role in Cherry, where he lost a quarter of his body mass again. He was a muscular dude. I don't think I would ever do it again. It was awful. Truly. It was only about 10 weeks out of shooting that I realised what I was getting into and what I need to do to transform into the role. It was brutal. And then bulking up, going from a drug addict to shooting scenes as a Marine, I got very sick actually, and it's changed my relationship with food completely. I think I would find it very difficult to find a role that would warrant that sort of abuse of my body again. People have all different bodies and all different needs, and I know that we're coming up to the time of year where family reunions happen, which is why I wanted to talk about this again, because there can be this real pressure to suddenly lose weight, and it's not good for you, sweetheart. Like, please, it's just not good for you to do something so suddenly, so drastically. For me personally, I'm seeing some overlaps with the whole indie sleaze thing, with thin is in, with the romanticization of mental illness, as can sadly happen quite a bit. I do just worry when I see these sorts of threads coming through on things. I'm like, ugh, it's making me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Because as much as like it comes down to the director's vision, do you think it's actually reasonable for them to go asking actors to make such drastic transformations to their physical being in order to be able to play a role? Because like, it's 2024. We have incredible technology. I don't really think that we need to keep on doing that sort of stuff anymore, like the whole suffering for your art thing. Or you could be one of the people that when I've been looking at these interviews, when I've been looking at this stuff, people are just like, oh yeah, but they're fine, like they're rich, they should suffer because the rest of us suffer. It doesn't matter that they're working 14-hour days. They're so pampered. Are you one of those people? If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave the performing arts emoji. Yes, that's actually what it's called. It was very confusing to me too, but that's what it is. It's like the happy, sad, like, mask things. Have you seen Joker Folie, and what did you think of it? Because I'd be really, really keen to know. The first movie I personally didn't enjoy, nor did Brandon. Like, he just couldn't even make it through the movie at all. After 10 minutes, he was like, no, not doing it. The Crunchy to Alright Pipeline video is coming, and I also have a special video for Halloween which will be coming out that week, so stay tuned for that as well because my patrons voted for it and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And speaking of my patrons, I should really thank you, shouldn't I? Because honestly, we have such good chats. It's like really, really good little community there. And an extra special thank you to all of my Trash Panda enablers: Birgit, Carrie Quake, Jam, Mila Gautier, Stella Sapiente, Tammy Poitres, Tim Long, Tonya Banyay, and TrailMix305. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you again next week with a new video. Bye! If you've been noticing my eyelash sticking to my gems on my face throughout the video, you watching it has been less painful than me feeling it. My goodness, like, just nothing's going right now, but I like the gems a lot. So anyway, I better go put them back on their resealable things because, yes, I reuse everything. Like, do you want to know how many times I've reused, like, even my lashes? It's over 30. You can wash them and keep reusing them. I'm just saying, for anybody else that is thrifty like me. Okay, bye.